Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing another one of those videos where I talk about the ending of a season and pretty much say everything that was good about it. And we're talking about the ending of Season 7 today. I did not like Season 7 and it is my least favorite season, but there's no denying that it had an amazing ending, and I think that is probably the best part of the season. For me, it is definitely its ending. It just had an ending that felt really cool to me, and I think there were a lot of great parts about it. For instance, I loved how they remastered the time travel concept in this episode. We had seen time travel in Ninjago before, but I think this was a lot better. It was very cool to see the ninja instead of seeing their past selves. It was even cooler to see them fighting along their ancestors and the old elemental masters. It was also fun to see young Garmnon, young Wu, in action. Even though the real Garmnon was dead at that time, it was a nice way to include Garmnon in the season. And Garmnon's been in every season except Season 6. But yeah, at least in some capacity. And I think the fight was done really well also. I think it was pretty cool that they decided to use the Serpentine War flashback music throughout the fight, although it did feel a bit repetitive at points, and I think they could have stood to maybe use a new track. But I think it was very cool, and just seeing the old Elemental Masters fighting against this enemy that we know from the season was very cool, and I loved everything that it did. I also love the concept of the Iron Doom, and I think just visually it looked really cool with the Iron Doom on the cliff. And having the monastery was a really cool place to end the season. This is the first, I think, season finale which is fought at the monastery. The first of 2 season finales. The second being in Season 10. And I think it was really cool even though it technically wasn't in the present day. This season finale was also very different as it didn't include all of the ninja. Only 2 of the ninja were doing this. And they did get some great development this way. But this was at the expense of the other 4 characters, and this was pretty much the way it was done throughout the season. Kai and Nia got great development, but at the expense of other characters, and that is the way it was done. But this isn't really what I love about the season. It's not the whole fight that I love about the ending. It is truly the ending part. That final fight with the Time Twins and Wu's sacrifice, that is what I really do love about this season, and what I really do love about its ending. I felt like the final fight with the Chronix, Crux, Wu, and the 2 ninja was done perfectly, and the choice to reuse the Opening of the Cursed Realm soundtrack from Season 4 was a great choice. And to be honest, it kind of fit this scene, not this track, more than it did fit the original scene. I felt like it was perfect in the scene. It really created an epic mood, and it just made the person feel like, the viewer feel like, whoa, what's going on? This is amazing, and that is definitely how I felt. And I thought that it was done really nicely. Just the final fight, where Wu realizes what needs to be done, and he sacrifices himself, and sends the ninja off. Now, the last part as well was done amazing. The very last part where the Iron Doom spirals into the vortex, I thought that was done great. You know, people complain about the Time Twins not having a finished story, but I don't personally mind, and I could go with having their stories concluded, or instead just leaving their stories open-ended, and I think I would be fine either way. I feel like the ending of the season did great in terms of, opening up fan speculation. And I thought the final shot with the Time Twins and Wu just spiraling off into the distance was done amazing. And it was the perfect cliffhanger. This cliffhanger in this season was awesome. And mostly because of that scene. I just felt like it was executed perfectly with that final shot of the Iron Doom spiraling off into the distance. And who knows what's going to happen. And that really was the way it was for a year until, of course, we found out what did happen in Season 8. Now, on top of that, the whole Master Lloyd thing is finally confirmed in this episode. It did feel a bit rushed, but then again, the whole season had kind of been leading up to that, so that's a counter-argument that you could say for that. So yeah, the season had kind of been going in that direction, so it did make sense to end off the season on Master Lloyd. And I thought Kai giving Lloyd the reversal blade was done really great, and it was a great scene for Lloyd as well. And especially that final scene, and I mean the really final scene, where Lloyd says, "Where is Wu?" was done perfectly. The track was awesome. It just really fit the mood. And that final scene of Wu looking up in the time vortex was done perfectly. And it was just such an amazing way to end off what was really a mediocre season. And this is the perfect touch that really did send this season from being any worse. It truly was the season finale. And I feel like this is a great finale, and it's that easily my favorite episode of the season. You know, Hands of Time was a pretty mediocre season, with my favorite episodes probably being episode 72 and the premiere and finale. But other than that, all the middle episodes were really boring. But this finale did a great job of bringing everything together and concluding a lot of stuff while also leaving stuff open-ended. Right, that's another thing I loved about this season. Didn't have a strong connection to Season 8, but it did leave some things open-ended so that there was at least a connection. And those things were, of course, Wu's arc and the whole new Samurai X thing. And I think that was done really well. I just really love this ending, and every time I rewatch that fight, it just really gives you chills. It's just done perfectly, from the music to the actual fight to some of the lines and dialogue that are exchanged throughout the fight. It's just done really well, and I just love seeing Wu back in action, and I think Wu's role, especially in this season, is something that is really great about this season, and I just love seeing Wu do more. Even though he was out of commission for most of the season, he was doing a lot in the beginning and the end of the season, and I think that was really cool and very fun to see. It gave Wu a lot of development, and it really opened up a new storyline for Wu, a storyline that would later be resolved in Season 9. I just felt like this season finale was done really well, and in particular, I just loved the final battle between them. It was just done perfectly from, the whole setting as well. It was happening on the Iron Doom during time travel. It was just done perfectly, and I don't think it could have been done better. Also, again, the music was perfect. It really fit the scene, and ultimately, I do love it, and I just love the way that the season ended off on a cliffhanger, and it was a great opening. It was a great setup for a future season. Although Season 8 didn't give us the Hands of Time sequel we were expecting, Season 7 did set that up, even though Season 8 didn't give it to us. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, share it with anyone and everyone you know, and I will see you next time.